Well, hey there, Annie Rind here with another episode of 1001 Business Problems Solved with Microsoft Teams. Today, I'm inviting you into a real strategy session we had right here at County Quest Consulting. Nothing hypothetical, nothing abstract, just a genuine morning of rolling up our sleeves and thinking with Copilot as we shaped the early direction of a new series of free workshops we're plotting. If you've ever started planning a fresh initiative like that, you know the first step is rarely neat. It's more like tipping over a basket of ideas, sorting them out, and seeing what you actually have to work with. And that's exactly where we began. Part 1. Brain Dump. We kicked off with a good old-fashioned brain dump. We laid every idea on the table, why we want to offer free workshops, who they're meant to serve, what problems we want them to solve, how they fit into the broader mission at County Quest, and the different tones and teaching styles that might make the content resonate. Nothing too formal and controlled, just letting the ideas out so we could see them clearly. Copilot handled that part perfectly, taking in every thread without interrupting the flow and organizing the whole spread as we talked. There's something incredibly freeing about being able to think out loud while Copilot catches the pieces, holds them in order, and keeps you from losing track of the good stuff. Part 2. Sharpening the target audience. Once everything was out in the open, we shifted into refining who exactly these workshops will be for. A workshop lands so much better when you know precisely who you're speaking to, and Copilot helped us refine that picture by highlighting the shared challenges, common frustrations, and the real-world wins this particular group is hungry for. We explored their pain points, their ambitions, the gaps that slow them down, and the kinds of transformations that would feel meaningful, not just nice to have. As we talked, Copilot helped us tighten the lens, turning a general sense of business folks who need help into a clear community of people with specific needs we can directly support. That clarity alone made the rest of the session feel more grounded. Part 3. Mining the interwebs and our own County Quest history for targeted content. With the audience clearly in mind, we put Copilot to work gathering case studies, examples, and best practices that speak directly to the needs and challenges of our target audience. We weren't just browsing, we had Copilot scan the internet with intention, pulling situations these folks would instantly recognize, decisions they often face, and stories that match the kinds of problems they're trying to solve. At the same time, Copilot dug into our own County Quest archives, past projects, strategy notes, experience from client engagements, and the patterns we've seen repeat over the years, and surface the moments where we've already guided people through these same kinds of situations. Seeing external insights alongside our own history gave us a fuller, richer pool of teaching material, helping us identify themes and examples that will make the workshop feel grounded, relatable, and directly relevant. By the time Copilot finished, we had a toolbox of targeted stories and lived experiences we'll be able to weave right into the workshop content. Part 4. Clarifying what the workshop needs to do. With all these insights spread out before us, the next step was clarifying the purpose and emotional shape of the workshop, not the agenda just yet, but the arc of the experience. We talked about whether this workshop should feel energizing or steadying, whether the light bulb moments should hit early or build gradually, and what someone should feel when they walk out the door. Copilot guided this part by asking thoughtful questions. What does success look like for this audience? What's the moment we want them to remember? What shift should they feel in their confidence or clarity? Bit by bit, the purpose sharpened. We could almost hear the workshop coming to life, not its schedule, but its meaning. Part 5. The back and forth. Once we had the fundamentals in place, we leaned into the back and forth with Copilot. That's the part of the work that always surprises folks, how fast and fluid collaboration becomes when you're bouncing ideas off something that doesn't get tired, defensive, or attached to any one version of the truth. We experimented with different angles, tones, and teaching styles. We tried bolder approaches, softer ones, and everything in between. We asked Copilot to rewrite, reshape, tighten, and reframe, and it kept up with every pivot. There was no ego in the room, no slowing down in the pace, and no hesitation about exploring multiple directions before choosing the one that felt right. Strategy work has its own kind of rhythm, and Copilot lets you just go with it. Part 6. What we didn't get to. Now, I'll tell you something important. We didn't build the workshop agenda yet. Not because we weren't ready, but simply because our time for that morning ran out. And honestly, that's exactly the way strategy should unfold. The agenda needs to rest on a clear foundation. Who the workshop is for, what problems it addresses, and what experience we're trying to create. Once those things are in place, building the agenda becomes a whole lot easier. We'll tackle that part next, but it wasn't for that morning. Part 7. A hint about next week. Before I wrap up, I want to give you a peek at what's coming in next week's episode because it ties directly into everything we're doing here at County Quest, and it will show what exactly we did with the results from today's strategy session with Copilot. We've been generating a ton of ideas lately. Detailed and actionable ideas, and you know how fast that can get scattered across notebooks, emails, and sticky notes if you're not careful. So next week, I'm going to share how we're preventing information sprawl as these strategy sessions keep producing more and more goodness. We've created a quarterly strategy document, a single home for all our thinking, and we're working with Copilot to flesh out each of our quarterly goals inside it. That way, nothing gets lost, overlooked, or buried in yesterday's conversation. This document is becoming our rhythm for staying aligned, moving clearly, and keeping strategy alive instead of tucked away. You won't want to miss that one. So that's your behind-the-scenes look at a real strategy session with Copilot at County Quest Consulting. We refined our audience, gathered targeted insights from the web and our own history, shaped the workshop's purpose, and set ourselves up for the practical work of building the workshop agenda soon. Strategy doesn't need to be complicated or lonely. If you develop your strategy with Copilot, you'll get much better results in much less time. You'll have clearer vision and execute with much higher confidence. Please be sure to forward this episode to your business besties. This is Annie signing off. See you next week, friends.